It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
In Syracuse, to Oswego, and everywhere in between. ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
All right, that it is. Brian Higgins with you. The regular season is officially complete. We made it, people. 31 games done. The Orange comprehensively today, a blowout, Virginia 84 to 70. Phone lines open. We'll be with you up till 11-ish or so tonight. 315-437-7644. Thoughts on this one? Thoughts on ACC tournament upcoming? Locked and loaded. Syracuse will take on Florida State. The Orange, the 14 seed. FSU, the 11 seed. That game will be 7 o'clock on Tuesday night down in Charlotte. Our full coverage will surround it as per normal with pregame and postgame and all of that good stuff. Adrian Autry's postgame press conference coming sooner than later here today. Go figure today, even in this game, how Syracuse basketball 2025 is this? Even in this game in which you controlled it, Virginia was frankly terrible. On quote-unquote senior day, all your one-year transfers played really, really well. The best I'd say those four played collectively in any game all season. That for the first time all year, you put in the walk-ons. You didn't have a chance in any of the early games. The games were too close. You put on the walk-ons. And Chaz Owens is wearing these gigantic earrings, and they don't. And I think he tried to tape them over, and they don't let him into the game. It's just the cherry on top of the sundae, even in a win to wrap up the regular season. There you go. There you go. So Syracuse picks up its 13th win. They're 13-18 through the regular season, and thus they have officially avoided a 20-loss season. Boom. There you go. There you go. But Syracuse wins it today, 84-70. Again, phone lines open. We'll be with you chill until 11 or so tonight, 315-437-7644. You want to talk about the game, want to put a recap on the regular season, want to look ahead to see if Syracuse can do anything in the ACC tournament. Who would they? Hang on. Where do I have the bracket? I've got the bracket here somewhere. We've got the bracket. If Syracuse wins, then they play SMU. So a rematch of a game they should have won last week. So we'll see how it all comes together coming up here in due time. But Syracuse has Florida State, a team. Going back to that game, that was a weird game. It was close, back and forth, first half, first like 15, 17 minutes, really tight game. Syracuse ended up getting pulled away from in the second half. They lost by 16, a poor defensive effort. Put that on repeat. It was 90-74. That was also a very unique game in that it was J.J. Starling's first game back from injury and the last game Donnie Freeman played before he was lost for the season. So whatever we can take from that game, I don't know. And then we know this. The next time FSU loses, it will likely be the end of the career for Leonard Hamilton, who's retiring after the season, and Florida State right now is not set up to play in any postseason games. So there we go. There we go with that. The bracket is out. We'll delve further into that as we go through today. Senior day used to be, gravitas, the whole thing. I mean, I realized they lost the game, but go back to Jerry McNamara's senior day. Like the moments of that day still resonate now, 19 years later. Today, it's the last game of the Dome for Lucas Taylor, Jaquan Carlos, Jair Davis, and Eddie Lampkin. And their only year playing in the Dome. It's like, okay, where are the emotions with something like that? I don't know. But you look at what they did today. Quick math. Lampkin had 25. Davis had 15. Taylor had 15. Carlos had 5. Well, that's a nice even number. So 60 combined for the four of them today. Tossing another double-double for Lampkin. Wow, nice round numbers today for this group. They had 60 points and 20 rebounds, those four today. 7 assists for Carlos in the game as well. Wow, nice round numbers for this group. 15 assists. Is that what we're looking at? Yeah. So 60 points, 20 rebounds, 15 assists. Wow, we like the numbers. 60, 20, and 15 for those four today. It's the best, without looking it up, because who needs to look it up when you see the numbers like that? It's the best game those four played together all year, which is great. The problem is it's game 31. The problem is it's game 31. So there we go. There we go. But the best game they put together, can they? Because realistically, whenever Syracuse loses next, if it's Tuesday to Florida State, if it's Wednesday to SMU, if it's Thursday to Clemson, I believe would be the path that's laid out here going forward, or Thursday to Louisville. Who's the 3 seed? Who's the 3 seed? Is it Clemson or Louisville? It's hang on, scroll. It's Clemson. Whatever day the season ends here coming up this week, it'll be the last college game for all four of those guys, and who knows what kind of professional careers any of them are looking at. Overseas at best, you'd figure. So we'll see if they can play as a collective with a bit of passion and stuff going on going forward. J.J. Starling, normally the guy that's taken 8 million shots, coming off the 3 of 17 game. A little more reserved today for Starling. 7 points on 1 of 5 shooting, but 5 assists, and had a really nice dime late in the game as well. So there we are. That's today. Syracuse controlled it throughout. Yeah, literally yet another game with no lead changes this year. There have been shockingly large numbers of those this year, good or bad, for Syracuse basketball. The Orange scored the first bucket about 2 minutes into the game, led the final 38 minutes and 7 seconds. Never in doubt today, which is a pleasant change of pace after the last few basketball games that Syracuse has played it. All right, let's get a quick break out of the way to make sure we're on time for Red's postgame press conference. We'll get that to you live whenever it occurs, brought to you by our friends at RomanoCars.com. With that, we'll step aside. Phone lines open the rest of the show, 315-437-7644. Adrian Autry press conference live as it comes to us from the Dome. We're back after this here on our Burdick postgame coverage. Cuse 84, Virginia 70, the final score today on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Oh, what's up, chat? What is up, chat? How are we? How many minutes did Bell play today? Bell played 8 minutes. Well, look, it's Mike McAllister. But, Lucas Taylor wasn't missing. Why'd take him out? I saw that stat earlier today, Gavendo, which is crazy. Like, even though the league is stunk, like, how were none of the Duke, Louisville, Clemson games? I guess I think Louisville must have played Clemson and Duke both early before they got ranked. I don't know. Cuse is in the house. It's Cuff. Cuff is graduating, I think. He says he plans on staying. Like, this is literally his 4th year in college. Davis, I don't know. Yeah, it feels impossible. It feels impossible. Yeah, you'll take it, Laker. Are you messing with me, Gavendo, or has that actually occurred? What was a dinner? Dinner was a nice quiche. Made a quiche with some sausage in it. Yeah, we're just setting the table for Steve's show for Monday. Yeah, Chapa's still, I guess, whatever. He's day-to-day. Day-to-day. It's like his third straight week of being day-to-day. It was a good quiche. Did a little breakfast sausage in it, Kev. Well, clearly, Mike. That's true, Trenning. Though randomly, got a Walmart order of eggs today, and one of the eggs was broken, so I put it in for a refund, and they refunded me my egg cost. So in some ways, it was a free quiche. What was the attendance tonight, Laker? What is the announced attendance? 20,274. It was a quiet 20,000.
This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
All right, rolling along here on our postgame coverage. Brian Higgins with you. Adrian Autry's full postgame press conference. We'll carry it live as soon as it begins from the Dome. But right now, phone lines open, 315-437-7644. Let's head down south to our guy George in Memphis. Hey, George.
Hey, Brian, good win, and want to talk a little about the offense. But first, it is hard to watch some of these games like Goodine for Oklahoma hitting threes and Malik Brown hitting threes and Kadari having a great season at St. John's. I know that's the game now, and that's not red, and some of those players were under Boeheim. But, man, they've had some players come start at Syracuse right now. They're very significant roles in college basketball right now.
What did Kadari had a triple-double today, right? And Malik Brown, apparently, like everything, I obviously wasn't really watching that game closely. Apparently, he was literally the difference of the game for Duke. They popped him back in the second half, and he completely flipped the game on its head in favor of the Blue Devils today.
And Goodine just did the same thing for Oklahoma with some big threes. But anyways, offensively, you have to give credit to Red. I know they've been tough on them all year, but the last, 4 weeks of the season, 3.5 weeks of the season, they've been a pretty good offensive basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
What do you attribute that to? Is he kind of does he talk to the guards a little bit about being a little more patient on the entry passes, or are we just better ball movement, or is it the team now just kind of knows what to expect from the players on the floor?
I mean, in my mind, ball movement is when it's been humming a little bit. I look back to the first half of SMU, certainly last game. Tonight, the ball's just been less sticky. Some of that's JJ passing it more. Some of it, I think, is Eddie, getting it in, getting it out of the post, and maybe getting it back in. But yeah, I think they've been more willing to not go one-on-one at points and actually move the ball around a little bit.
Well, the other thing I'll say is I kind of flipped a little bit from, we absolutely mishit on the portal, and I'm not changing totally on that, but I will say Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Georgetown a little bit. This team could have been 1 or 2 games above 500. Now, the BC triple overtime could have gone there. Well, you can do this what if all day, point, for heaven's sakes. But I just don't think this is a 14-18 team. I think it was a team that should have had a better season. And now I'm just thinking it was maybe early league preparedness as much as it was portal that has this terrible record. I don't think it was a tournament team if John Wooden came out of the grave. But thoughts on that? Is this team maybe a little bit better than their record?
I mean, maybe a little. I'd say that it had a lot of things happen this season that certainly didn't help. When you look at, and I think a lot of it's injury related, which maybe goes to the point of the offense taking a while to look this smooth. That, Eddie had the back issues early on. JJ misses a month, and then you lose Freeman for the season. So you never really had healthy what you hope to have. whatever you ended up with here for the last month, you've at least stuck with it and run with it, so it leads to more continuity. I'd say that's probably it, George, that this last few weeks is the first time all year that you've had something resembling continuity with what you versus what you'd hope to have on the court.
I mean, I think it absolutely lines up with the timing of all this. I agree with you. One last thing. Florida State 50-50 game or 40-60? How do you do that?
You know, again, this is another one where it's crazy to handicap because you look back at the first meeting and the second half went pretty poorly and you didn't guard them well at all. But in that game, you know, Eddie still was getting back to being right. It was JJ's first game back, and it was Donnie's last game, and Donnie did not look right at all in that game. So, you know, if it plays out like that game, Syracuse gets smoked, and, you know, end of Leonard Hamilton's career and the whole thing. So who knows how, fired up FSU will be to try to keep Leonard's career going. But, you know, if you play like you did tonight, I think you got a close game. Realistically, I think it'll play out a lot like the recent games have played, where you can score a little bit, your defense is still going to be suspect, and, you know, we probably get a close game late.
Good deal. Good win tonight. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, George. George down in Memphis. Always good to hear from him on the post game. So it's, I don't know, like that first meeting was weird. Like, remember JJ's first game back, he came out, he hit some shots earlier, like, he's back. And then he completely cooled off as the game went on. And Donnie Freeman looked like, I mean, he was just limping around out there in that first Florida State game. The other side of it, I mean, FSU also, they beat SMU today, which effectively, barring SMU winning a few games and maybe making the title game here, has cost them a chance of going to the NCAA tournament. And you wonder for them, like, they know, like, Leonard Hamilton's career is done here whenever they lose in the ACC tournament. Like, that's got to be, one would figure, some kind of motivating factor of some sort in this game. I don't know. I feel a lot of these, especially these Tuesday games, a.k.a. these are seeds 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 in the ACC. These are not NCAA tournament teams. These are not anybody that even has remote NCAA tournament aspirations. I get it, like those seeds in the SEC are all high and mighty. But in the ACC this year, this is 6 teams playing on Tuesday that have not played anything resembling consistent nor good basketball all year. They've had their moments. Syracuse had a moment tonight. FSU had a moment earlier today. FSU, go figure this. Like, FSU beat, this is the week. This is the circular week here. FSU and Virginia played earlier this week. Syracuse and SMU played earlier this week, and they both flip-flopped this weekend. Syracuse should have beat SMU and blew the game. Florida State, we just watched Virginia play tonight. Florida State lost to Virginia, but they beat SMU. With that, we'll get back to it as we go on. Red Autry's post-game press conference right now, RomanoCars.com.
You know, Anthony Clayton, Nate Fleischer, those and our managers to be able to, you know, in a year like this, to be able to finish it off with a win like that, and, you know, at the Dome, you know, just was happy for those guys. You know, proud of the team. I thought, even though he didn't score a lot today, I thought JJ had a really good, solid floor game, 5 assists. Thought defensively it was his best defensive game of the year. And so, you know, again, just a team that's kept fighting. They haven't changed that. We've come up short, but this team has stayed together. We've all stayed together and just played through everything, and, you know, we'll continue to do that. We'll get ready to practice tomorrow, and then pack our bags and go down to Charlotte, to ACC tournament, and get ready for Florida State. Questions?
So they were 3 of 15 from 3. I'm assuming that the team that likes to take a lot of threes and makes a lot of threes, that was the way you wanted to go. What were you trying to do today?
You know, I thought, you know, again, you know, Virginia, no matter what, is a very good offensive team if you let them run their offense. You know, that's a very, very good offense, difficult offense to defend. So, you know, we just wanted to push up and try to make them bounce the ball more the whole game. You know, that's why we extended our pressure, just to kind of make them bounce the ball. You know, they're a very good passing team, a good screening team. So, you know, we just wanted to, you know, make them play, just make them bounce the ball more. That was the biggest thing.
Did you go into tonight's game thinking you were going to have a mismatch inside today?
No, I mean, you Eddie's been good for us all year. He's one of the best big men in our league, and he's played like that all year. Doesn't really, he's a big part of what we do, so we're going down there regardless. But I thought he did a really good job today of, we were working on a trap, so I thought the first couple of times he caught it, he was waiting to see if they kind of double, and they didn't, and they switched it up. But I thought he did a really good job of getting to his spots and, making passes out and not turning it over. I think, he had 2 turnovers, so that wasn't bad for all the touches that he had.
Coach, to finish regular season, the game over like this, what does that bring to your team, and how do you make sure that momentum is headed to tournament and game against State?
Well, I think, especially the last, 3 or 4 games, being up and kind of coming short and playing well like we did in the first half. We've done that the last couple of games. So to get that win, I know that feels good. I know I'm excited about winning, getting that win. And hopefully, and I think it will, the momentum will carry over, to give them some more confidence as we move forward.
Coach, Lucas Taylor came on 14. What did he bring to your team today? How important is he going into the conference?
Lucas has been shooting the ball really well as late, and I thought today, he was, he had to play against Isaac McNeely, who I think is an all-conference guy, and I thought he did a tremendous job on him. I thought, defensively, he did a really good job on him, made it hard for him, and that's what we need Lucas to do. But also, Lucas played well offensively. He made shots, he drove it, So, I just thought he provided a lot of energy, but defensively, I thought he was really good today.
Coach, how do you feel about your team in the second half, keeping that comfortable lead and not letting you get back in the game?
I just thought we still some things that we got to do better. When he went zone, we were trying to get the lob. Naheem tried to get him to lob a little bit. I thought we could have handled that a little bit better. I thought our defense weakened a little bit, which it tends to do, but. I thought the guys that played the majority of the minutes when they got back in, I thought they did a really good job of, keeping them at bay, making shots when we needed to, getting stops when we needed to. But I thought we could have handled the zone a little bit better. But overall, I just thought the guys did a good job of keeping their composure and making the right plays when we needed them.
Jason seems like he's starting to play better. Has anything changed for him in particular?
I think he's reading better. I think he's probably, I think he understands, the reads a little bit better. And, he's always played hard. I think he's not worrying about his shot. I think he's just really in a good space right now mentally. But he's been good for us, for the last probably 7 or 8 games. He's been really good for us. He steadied the ship, kind of what we wanted, when we brought him in, someone that can get people shots. And then if he needs to make a shot, So, but I just think he's been a little bit more poised. I think he's really settled down a little bit, calmed down a little bit. And what we're trying to do and accomplish and in the reads.
Is there any part of the transition that was harder for him than you guys thought it would be, whether it's given the size?
I'm sure it was an adjustment, moving up to this level. There's no doubt about it. And I think for him, probably. When we talking, I think in his last place as a point guard, I think they have more like nonverbal cues and stuff like that. For me, I want him to be a communicator, and I think that was something that he had to adjust to. And then also, you get thrown into this, and JJ goes down, the ball is in his hand. It really got very limited. They're like one ball handler. He had a lot of pressure on him. So I think, that had a lot to do with it. I think once JJ got back, that was a little bit easier for him to handle that load.
But China, one more of the ups and downs that this team always needs. What is that testament?
I think it's a testament to them. I think it's a testament to our staff. Again, when you have a season, that you don't get the results that you want, to be able to get up and come into work every day, and tune everything out. And the people that have come to our practices, have seen our practices, you wouldn't you would think we were 25-0, and I just think my staff and our guys, they just, they kept it going, and we kept fighting, and not once did I think that they packed it in, and I know as a coaching staff, we didn't, through everything, I think that we've learned a lot this year, For those guys, this experience here, I'll remind them, this is how the world is, right? And this is what when hard times have come, you can't lay down. You got to keep going. You got to keep fighting, and they did that. So again, this wasn't the season that we wanted record-wise. Not for me, not for any of these guys here, not for our fans, not for anybody here that follows us. We understand that, But within that, when you do have bad times, right, you want to see people fight. You want to see people not give in and not give up. And if there's any credit that I would ask any of you guys to do this, is that's what this team did this year. Through the difficult times, through the hard times, they never stopped. They kept fighting. And again, and I'm proud that they did that. All right, it's bad. And to be honest with you, it could have been worse. It could have been worse, and they didn't let it happen. They kept fighting, and everybody that followed, they knew they were in the game. It was just, obviously we didn't close them out, but it wasn't like, we just laid down. So, again, I'm proud of my team for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there it is, the final Dome press conference of the year from Red Autry. Is always brought to you by RomanoCars.com. I felt that ended abruptly. There's a thank you and a walk away. There we are. So Red's final statement, he's been echoing that sentiment, I'd say, pretty consistently now for the last few weeks. Again, to set the stage for Charlotte this week, the Orange third game on the docket on Tuesday, scheduled to tip off at 7 o'clock. The Orange, the 14 seed, taking on 11 seed FSU. If they win, it gets late night. Every game after that, it will be 9:30 against SMU on Wednesday. If they can win that, it will be 9:30 against Clemson on Thursday. If you want to get really crazy, if they win that, the semifinal would be 9:30 on Friday. But let's just reel that back in for a minute. All right, we'll get a break in here at our Burdick post-game coverage. Phone lines open the rest of the way, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. If you'd like to chime in after Syracuse's regular season finale 14-point win over Virginia. We're back after this here on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Did Jesse Gavenda? Yeah, good for him. No PJs today, Armosaurus. It's like, I think it's a Greg Norman quarter zip. It's got a little sheen to it. No PJs tonight. It's not that late. We got to go post midnight if we're gonna rock the PJs or trick Paulie into it. Is this a Greg Norman? I think this is a Greg Norman. The logo's back here and I can't see it. Yeah, we don't PJ at 10:37. We dim the lights, but. I do not, Zach. I will not be springing ahead till 1:59, 315. I live an honest life with daylight savings. Tonight, Poppy. Tonight. I will adjust my microwave clock and my stove clock when I get home. Finishing spray, Sebastian Louise? No extra hour at the bar tonight, Gavendo. You fall back for extra hours. Spring ahead, all of a sudden it's 3 in the morning. The sheen, it's not a spray. No spray. It's the hell's it called? It's a little goop thing. Goop. Yeah, Gavendo, you're behind. Well, actually, you're at the same exact time as you would be. So whatever pace you'd be at, you're doing normal. I believe it's called a fiber cream. Yeah, the Goop has a solid net ranking. Going to be working at 6 a.m. Now, Ryan is really losing an hour of sleep here. Oh, we know them all, Swiftman. Syracuse is the 14 seed. No, Super Cat, we're just chilling. They had $5 beers today? Hoops rules? In the dome, Gavendo. Phone's ringing.
This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
Hey, you know it. 315-437-7644. Brian Higgins with you. If you'd like to join today, Syracuse wins with limited drama. 84-70 over Virginia to close out. Not exactly a regular season for the ages. 13-18, the Orange wrap up their 31-game stretch. They have avoided a 20-loss season. Good team. We know the stage now for the ACC tournament. The Orange will be the last game on every game that they play. 7 o'clock on Tuesday night, part of the 3-game slate on day 1 of the ACC tournament, taking on Florida State. If they win, advance to take on SMU, who they should have beaten a few days ago. If they somehow win too, then they get to face Clemson, who they absolutely should not have beaten in the game that they played them the last time out. But we'll see how it all goes down in Charlotte. The ACC tournament has not really yet, in more than a decade, have been Syracuse's friend at any point yet. All right, let's get to the phones. We're going to start here with Jerome in Clay. Hey, Jerome, what's up?
Hey, Dro from Clay.
Oh, Dro. It said Dro. I blame Paul. We know you, Dro. I was like, who the hell is Jerome?
Right.
We know. All right, Dro. Okay. Now we know what we're doing. What's up, Dro?
Yeah. So listen, I don't know. I mean, like Autry, like if people saw us practice, we're 25-0. You think we're 25-0? Come on. I mean, it's been a rough season. And, yes, it was a very nice win tonight. And, yes, we can win Tuesday and Wednesday, and we can easily lose Tuesday and Wednesday. But the fact of the matter is, and you said it early on, like we had senior night tonight. You look at Chris Joseph Sr., Jerry McNamara, Derek Coleman, Billy Owens, David Johnson, Scoop Jardine, Rick Jackson. Those were most of senior nights. These guys, hey, you played 1 year. Hey, great seeing you, great knowing you. Jesus. Carmelo's 1 year at the Dome. His last game of the Dome was much more exciting. Obviously, so was Johnny Flynn. So the question is, where do we go from here? Like, if you want to – look, here's the bottom line. I'm going to say this, and I know it's like beating a dead horse. If Adam is not involved with the NIL stuff next year, we're going to have the same thing as next year. That's all I'm going to tell you. Nothing's going to change. If the university wants to pony up and and put their ego to the side. They do what they have to do to get Adam back in the mix next year. Because you know what? This is a new era of college basketball. I know we have a general manager. We have everything in place. You need the money. You need the money. That's it.
Yeah, I say, Dro, you know my opinion on Adam. I'd say there's plenty of other money out there. They need more money. He's not the end all be all on it.
He's not the end all be all. You need someone like him, though. That's what I'm saying. You need something. That's what they need.
Yeah, you need more money. I will agree with you on that. I'd say you need someone to do what he's. You need someone to do what he said he was going to do that never actually happened. How about that?
Okay, that's what we need. Other than that, and hopefully. Look, next year's make or break for us. We know that, but just take it away from today. They played a great game today, and yes, they can win They can win these next 2 games. There's no doubt, but they can just as easily lose them too. It would not shock if they're playing Thursday night against Clemson.
Yeah. I'd say, Dro, I'd be equally non-surprised if they lose to Florida State or win a couple games.
Right, and Leonard Hamilton. Yes, it's his last game. It was also Jim Bam's last game against Wake Forest. And we all know that went too. So hopefully we can just, get something going. But we need to get SU basketball back to where it was, where we're in March playing meaningful games. This is just ridiculous. No one cared about the snow or the cold 20 years ago in March, because SU basketball was playing. That was the one constant. And we need to get things back to where they were. And hopefully next year we're having this conversation. But in the meantime, good win tonight. I'm happy for the guys. Let's hope they can win a couple games in Charlotte, and then we just see what the portal brings.
That we shall.
We're there. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
There we go.
That's when the portal opens.
No, the portal's actually the week after that, Dro. They bumped it back. It's after the second round of the tournament this year. They bumped it back here. So
okay, but that's smart.
Yeah, so they made that. That was the one change they made after last year. So it's we'll watch the first weekend of the tournament, and then the portal's going to crack open that Monday after. So I'll be very intrigued to see how that changes up how things go this year for all involved. All involved.
Exactly. Thanks. Keep up the good work, man. We'll be in touch for sure. I'll be calling you next week.
All right, sounds good, Jerome.
I'm not Jerome.
Jerome. Yeah, you can be Jerome. Do you, Dro? Well, maybe you can be Jerome next time. You can aspire to that. All right, man. Our guy Dro and Clay. Always good to hear his voice as we move along here on Postgame, and we'll follow Dro up. We're going back to back. We got Pat next. What's up, Pat?
What's the name of your call screener? This rookie.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. We're gonna have to air out Paul here. He missed on Dro. I don't know.
So listen, the whole thing with Paul is I called as.
Does yours say Pete? No, yours says Pat. You're still Pat, so we know who you are.
Well, no, but I think I had more fireworks on the pre-screen than I ever have, and probably less than I will on this call because I'm half asleep. But the point is not that. I call, and I'm half asleep, and he says, I hope you're not drunk like this caller. And I said, that's my boy Dro. I said, you might want to check yourself. So I called you just to do a quick season recap, and then this intern or whoever he is it gets me so fired up. So
poor Paul. Paul's
burning
it right now.
on him. I literally said he's forgotten where basketball. I mean, Dro is like an encyclopedia for basketball. The guy will remember in 1986 when Syracuse played Boston College what the temperature was and what the date was. It's just uncanny. So shout out to my boy Dro. Season and recap. Keep it short and sweet for all the trolls. Obviously the injuries that we talked about. I also think I'm going to leave you with what Jeff Van Gundy said years ago. Sometimes depth can be your worst enemy, and I really believe that this was. I think so many guys struggled, including our transfers from other schools on the mid-major line because they didn't really know their role. You had Davis that was deferring to Freeman. You had Freeman trying to find his way. I mean, I can go on and on and on with but obviously this team. They could have lost 5 games that they won. I mean, there was 3 or 4 early, couple in league, and they obviously could have won 5 or 6 more that they lost with double-digit leads. So it is what it is. This is a result-based industry. I will give Red one prop that post-game press conference that he put on. He didn't struggle with any words. He spoke from the heart. And you know what? I mean, everybody said it all year. Nobody wanted Red to fail.
Right.
But obviously, it's been a frustrating season. And it'll be Portal 2.0. It's a week later. I'll be interested to see how quick some of our guys hit the portal. I'll also be very, very interested in Bethea and a couple other guys that we're keeping a lookout. But that's all I got for tonight. But little lesson for your screener: you better know your audience, especially in the industry that you're trying to get into. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Pat. There is our guy, Pat. Best style tone in the business. Poor Paul. Poor Paul just wearing it here on a Saturday night. Poor Paul. I thought we had a new caller in Jerome. I don't know. I was kind of looking forward to talking to a Jerome. We don't often talk to a Jerome. Maybe sometimes, but there we go. Dro and Pat back to back. It's a classic segment in Syracuse Postgame. We'll take a break. If you want to chime in to finish things off when we come back, you can. 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Back to book the final last thoughts on this one tonight after this. Here, Syracuse beats Virginia by 14 and one of the more comprehensive performances of the season. We're back after this. It's Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
The Sport.
Yeah, Laker, they announced that yesterday, 2 days ago. Like that came quick. Was he even there today, Laker? Like, Miami already officially announced him yesterday, I think it was, or Thursday. Paul can take it, Kev. You was there today? We very well may be, Gavendo. I keep expecting Vito to pop up now after we got Dro and Dro and Pat. Hey, Paul is not an intern. He is a proper part-time employee. He just can't tie his shoes. Those are Armasaurs. Those are so far the opposite end of the spectrum. That's a wild ask. It's not so much that he can't, even though he can't, Poppy. It's more he actively declines any opportunity to learn. Yes, he also doesn't know his roommate's name. Nor is he sure if his roommate knows his name. Though he also works for the place at which he lives and could easily look up his roommate's name. So it's fun. You learn what? Paul! How dare you learn your roommate's name? Shout out to Rohan. How dare you? I no wrong answered it yesterday, Laker. I went 13-12 Cuse. I went 13-12 Cuse. It's got a 1-goal stench to it. You're just causing trouble now, Arbosaurus. That's the plan, Kev. All right, last licks if you want in, 315-437-7644. Or else it's 11 o'clock, so wrap it up shop seems a prudent thing to do as well as we fast close on 11 o'clock this evening. And to part of Pat's point before about rotations and whatnot, we've been talking about this all year. And obviously, injuries and whatnot have forced the hands. Things have been trimmed down. I don't recall seeing this before. I could go look this up, but it's more fun just to speculate. Starting 5 tonight. J.J. Starling, 32 minutes. Lucas Taylor, 31 minutes. Jaquan Carlos, 33 minutes. Jair Davis, 34 minutes. Eddie Lampkin, 30 minutes. It feels like it must have happened at some point, but talking about the rotations, and certainly when you had Donnie Freeman available, and there was, when Chapo was available, and there was more moving parts. But I don't recall all 5 starters in a regulation game all playing 30 minutes before. You talk about continuity and cohesiveness. Now, obviously, they were all playing well. There was no reason to take them off the court. But usually, Chris Bell only played 8 minutes today. That's unusually low for him. Usually, somebody's going to nab enough minutes from somebody else. They're not all getting to 30. I mean, you go back and look on the Jim Boeheim era, it wouldn't even consider the idea of even thinking about that. Of course they're all playing 30 or close to it or whatever. So, yeah, talking about continuity, and, man, it just wasn't there through injury, through Lampkin's back early in the season, through JJ being out, through Donnie Freeman. Now, how drastically is it going to change the season? They ain't suddenly getting on the bubble with this team. I don't think any way you slice it the way this year went on. But could it have been a slightly different thing had there been more continuity through, be it lack of injuries or rotations or whatever? Yeah. But I don't know how much that'll move the needle. The question here going forward is, all right, you found that today. Can it move the needle against Florida State on Tuesday? That was a very non-continuity game. JJ's first game back. Donnie Freeman limping around the court well, that don't look good. And it turned out to be the last game he played all season. Can you go get a game? FSU trying to stave off the end of Leonard Hamilton's career. I don't know. Syracuse lost by 16 the first time around. It was close for a while, and then the second half, Syracuse's defense collapsed. Syracuse's defense tonight was good, or Virginia just missed a lot of shots. Which was it? I don't know. Virginia, the only thing they do well is make threes. Tonight they were 3 of 15 beyond the arc. But with that, we arrive at the end of the regular season. So coming up Monday, we expect a ton and Diva at 11 o'clock on Monday. Most of our normal slate, it is spring break this upcoming week, so no Newhouse, but Orange Nation at noon. Stephen Fonte with his radio show. I've heard he's got a radio show. Paulie will be down in Charlotte for that one as he's down at the ACC tournament. They will talk from there. Then we'll have Cody at 3. I'll be with you at 4 on Monday. Recapping this game, recapping Lax tomorrow against Johns Hopkins. Don't forget that game, 2 o'clock over on TK. Kyle and Tim pregame starting there at 1:30. Then Tuesday, we'll have, all the stuff. Full coverage, normal day of shows. Paulie and Charlotte still. I'll be on at 4, pregame 6, postgame after. We'll do the whole thing, and then we'll see what happens if we go dangerously late nights with a potential 9:30 tip coming up on Wednesday. With that, we'll put the final wraps on it tonight. Final regular season final score of the year is Syracuse 84 and Virginia 70. Thanks for staying up late. Don't forget, it's closer to the morning than you think. Spring forward tonight. Clocks ahead. Daylight savings time starts tomorrow. We'll talk Monday at 4 o'clock right here at Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This is